different. You value their compliments more because they criticized you. And it's almost very interesting how like the best dishes usually have a dynamic of hot and cold, crunchy and soft, but also the best people provide an element of criticism and praise, right? The people who we value the most.
Like a boss.
All right, welcome to the Robert Greene Book Club. And today we're going to be starting, well, we've been doing the art of seduction. We're going to continue with the art of seduction. And this chapter is about how to create a need and stir anxiety and discontent. Ladies and gentlemen, I did not write this, okay? But this chapter is, don't just think of this as seduction in between man, woman, and vice versa. See this as how to create a need in a market, how to create a need in your job, how to create a need in your family, how to create a need in your how to be needed in any area. All right, this is how to make people emotionally depend on you. And unfortunately, some people could use this for manipulation, which is really bad. But on the positive note, anybody can use this for the positive, for positive influence, for drawing the right people to you if you have positive intentions. Okay, and this can also make anyone become needy for you, pretty much, because needy means you need them. So this could work on any man and any woman. So let's begin with this. And if you guys enjoy this, don't forget we have the Robert Greene Book Club on Patreon for just $5 a month. You can become a Patreon supporter. And don't forget, we're also doing for $10 a month. You guys can become a part of the Robert Greene Book Club. Get the audio version of the Robert Greene Book Club and not just the video. And also ask one question per month where I answer in the form of a video. And for the $25 a month, you guys can do 2 questions per month and all the other benefits, okay? So click on the description down below to join the Patreon, or else I'm closing this channel.
Chapter 5. Create a need. Stir anxiety and discontent. A perfectly satisfied person cannot be seduced. Tension and disharmony must be instilled in your target's minds. Stir within them feelings of discontent and unhappiness with their circumstances and with themselves.
Notice how when we are the most seduced, when we are the most influential, is when we feel the most confused, when we feel the most vulnerable, when we are insecure about our identity. And that's usually during our teenage years. And that's why when you fall in love as a teenager, usually it's really intense, and can potentially be really traumatizing if you meet the wrong person. And that's why, teenagers fall deeply in love, not just because it's the first time they feel love, but also because they also feel vulnerable and need validation from someone to tell them that they're normal and that they are of high value. When you feel unhappy, you don't value your self-opinion. You don't value the thought that I am worthy. When you are unhappy, you value the validation and the words of other people. So it is true. If somebody's perfectly happy, they can't be seduced. And remember, seduction is taking people through a fantasy. And unfortunately, if you are really happy, this form of seduction does not work on you. You could be seduced. Don't get me wrong. It doesn't mean that you cannot love, but that infatuation where you have no control over yourself, where you completely lose control, is not there. And people might say that's a great thing, and it is a great thing. There is some form of pleasure behind that. But a lot of the times, what's driving this fantasy, this love, is usually insecurity, doubt, trauma, and people can use that to manipulate you. The most unhappy people are the people who get the most manipulated, or who manipulate the most.
Their life lacks adventure. They have strayed from the ideals of their youth. They have become boring. The feelings of inadequacy that you create will give you space to insinuate yourself, to make them see you as the answer to their problems.
Notice how this can be used. Sounds like a cult, right? Like, this is not. It's for example, right? If you're a young woman, the easiest men to seduce are older men, right? And that's where you have the sugar daddy dynamic. If you are a young man, the easiest people to seduce are older gay men. Yeah, trust me, it is. What are you saying, Alexis? Is there something you want to tell us? What I'm telling you is that when I was younger, even to this day, I still get propositions from guys. They were like, a lot of guys come up to me like, I can make it. What is it that they say? They were like, if you come with me, I could show you things you never seen before. And I'm like, yeah, I bet you could. And I don't want to see those things. like, sorry, Luis, a Puerto Rican gay guy. I appreciate your offer, but it's not for me. Okay. So this is a strategy that I don't recommend, but this is a strategy of making somebody need you. Is that you offer the criticism, and then you offer the praise for them fixing the behavior. But what people don't understand is that the process and the act of trying to do something to impress someone causes you to fall in love, because you're starting to hinge your self-esteem on their reaction to you, on their validation. And it's very manipulative, but it does work. But it's something that I just don't recommend. You can use this if you're like a media personality and you want people to pay attention to you. Yes, the criticism, that's what trolls do. You have guys like Skip Bayless, guys like, not even Stephen A. Smith, but a perfect example, Skip Bayless, where he criticizes LeBron. And I can promise you, when LeBron was failing the most, the person whom LeBron valued their opinion the most was Skip Bayless, because he criticized him the most. It's just how that works. The comments that I pay most attention to are criticism. And if I notice now this person who used to criticize me is now praising me, I'll value their opinion more, but inadvertently I'll end up liking them more.
He would know them well by that time, and the criticisms were often quite accurate and hit a nerve. This would inevitably trigger confusion in his victims and a sense of anxiety, a feeling that something was wrong with them. Jolted out of their usual sense of normality, they would feel divided inside. With half of their minds, they wondered why he was doing this and felt he was unfair. With the other half, they believed it was all true.
A lot of people who are in the army will tell you that a lot of them end up loving their sergeant, especially during the days when they used to scream at you. Like I had a sergeant. He used to be called Sergeant Jimenez. A fucking asshole. Sorry about that. Sorry. But actually, it's weird how you have a very weird love and hate relationship with the officer, because he screams at you, calls you shit, calls you maggot, all that kind of stuff. Not a MAGA supporter, maggots people. Is not a maggot. A maggot is a different thing. MAGA is a great guy. It's an incredible slogan. It's the best slogan. And I remember having the feeling of like, I don't like him, but also when he smiled at me, when he complimented me, I'm telling you, bro, it is completely different. You value their compliments more because they criticized you. And it's almost very interesting how like the best dishes usually have a dynamic of hot and cold, crunchy and soft, but also the best people provide an element of criticism and praise, right? The people who we value the most. And so when you provide people the criticism and the praise, they also give you power of their self-esteem, because they experienced the low through your criticism, and now they experience the high. Now you are in every part of their self-esteem. You've seen in like the metaphoric mind version, like the version that lives in their mind of you. You know how, for example, when you think of me, there's a version of me in your mind, right? And you can hear me sometimes, right? So it's kind of like their version of you in their mind has been in their low self-esteem areas, but also has been in their high self-esteem area. So you've been marinated by their energy, and inadvertently it might cause you to fall in love with them over time and need them.
Then, in those moments of self-doubt, they would get a letter or a visit from him in which he was his old charming self.
Yeah, this is toxic shit as hell. I remember this one girl used to do that, where she would come visit, but she would sit across the room, and I'm like, bitch, sit next to me. Goddamn, this is not how this works. And it would confuse me, and I would ask myself, why is she there? You know, and she would leave, and I'd be left confused. But she wasn't mean, but she just wanted her space. But it made me. I remember the feeling of anxiety of wanting to be close to her. And any touch that I had felt better, right? It's kind of similar to that, where the next day she would come visit, and now she was normal. Now she was more touchy. Now I care. Now I sort of appreciate her touches more, right? And so that comes because you took away something, which is physical contact, created the insecurity, and then you gave it back, right? This is why distance is so powerful. Again, this is, I like to think that this happens naturally when you live in your normal life, but a lot of times we don't express when we feel this way because we're afraid to offend our partner. But a lot of times we are in this state where, I don't want to do nothing today. And that naturally offends people. And a lot of people are uncomfortable with that. But if you allow yourself to express your boundaries, you're going to create this effect without being manipulative, to be honest with you. Because there are days that you're not going to be in the same wavelength. But a lot of the times you don't want to express that you're not feeling it. So you don't offend them and you miss out on this. And I'm not saying to offend, but sometimes you have to offend. And you have to understand that it's okay to offend. Don't be afraid to offend. They will forgive you. They will love you more for it. But it's more of me of me encouraging to do the things that you think you can't do, because you could. That's why people love you, to forgive you.
Now they saw him differently. Now they were weak and vulnerable, in need of something, and he would seem so strong. Now he drew them to him, feelings of friendship turning into affection and desire. Once they felt uncertain about themselves, they were susceptible to falling in love.
All right, I hope you guys enjoy this book club videos. I have a lot more Robert Greene analysis videos on my Patreon. By clicking on the description down below, you guys can become Patreon supporter and get access to all of the other Robert Greene videos that I've done in the past. They're like 30 to 1 hour videos, people. That's right. So click on the description down below, and I'll see you guys inside. Okay, take care. It's only 5.